The question of this week is to Ocho or not to Ocho. Hi, my name is Rene, and I am the artistic director of Tango Brillante DC, an organization that is dedicated to the expansion and the promotion of tango culture in the Washington DC area. And we have created these pre-recorded videos for you to enjoy and keep learning tango at home during these times, these difficult times that we're going through. But we're trying to do this in a very light way, so you not only feel like you are trapped in your house, but much by the contrary, we want you to have fun doing these exercises that are probably designed just for you to enjoy. You don't need a partner, you just need to work these exercises. In the last 3 weeks, we have been doing ochos, forward ochos, which if you have any question about those exercises, I would like you to go back and see them. What we're going to do today, we're going to try to put all these 3 lessons in just one movement. So in order to remind you a little bit of what we did in the ochos, we all know that ochos are the figure 8 that ladies are drawing on the ground. And we have done 3 types of ochos. We did a set of ochos that we were going around instead of just walking with in a regular way. We were going around our dance partner. And also we did ochos, we combined the ochos with sacadas. And last week we combined these fantastic ochos in a way that we were walking at the same time that we were doing the ochos. And also we mix a little bit of sacadas with it. So we're going to combine all these exercises today. As I usually do, I'm going to start the explanation for the follow-up. Excuse me. As I usually do, I'm going to start the explanation first for the gentleman, and in the second part, I'm going to just dedicate the whole last of the lesson for the exercises for the ladies. So the first thing that we're going to do is I want you to, the exercise today requires you to understand how to navigate around the room that you're dancing with. So because this area that I'm using in front of the camera is very small, I'm going to keep going in an oval so you can see the continuity of the movement and how I am keeping moving all the time, okay? That is one of the things that I want you to understand, that there is always flowing while we're dancing. There is also the corners. We have to be very careful with the corners. And remember, the corners are excellent spots where you can take your time, you can breathe a little bit there. In the area from the corner to the next corner, usually there's a lot of traffic. Nobody's going to wait for you. Everybody's going to push. However, here, there's a little bit of a delay and nobody wants to go to the corner. That's the reason a few lessons back, I asked you to use this corner and play with it. So, we're going to start, and I'm going to put the exercises in one order. You're more than free to change that. The way that I would like you to practice for now is this, but again, at any point you can mix that, because we're just doing ochos. We're not doing a set of steps that require for you to remember exactly to do the same thing that I am doing. So Very simple. I'm going to start with a forward, with a basic step. I'm going to start with a very basic step until the number 5 of the basic step. And the reason why I'm using a basic step of 8 is because I need to create a little bit of a space, because I'm going to use this space. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do, but I'm going to be backing up a little bit. So I'm going to use that space. By the way, the music that we're listening in the background, it's by Francisco Canaro. And I wanted to do with the music of Francisco Canaro in a sense that it feels slow. It has the same tempo as La Yumba of Osvaldo Pugliese, but the way that this style is constructed is making us feel that the music seems to be slower. So I'm going to focus in the downbeat. That means I'm going to go like this. Bum, 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 bum. I'm going to count now. Instead of doing the pump, I'm going to do the numbers of the steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Here, I need to use that space. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go back. So I'm going to use the forward ochos that I am inviting my dance partner to come towards me. First forward ocho, second forward ocho, and from here I'm going to switch. And then I'm going to go around her. Then I'm going to wait, I'm going to pivot her, and I'm going to do the ochos that I was doing sacadas with. And then the ones that we did last week, I'm going to make her do a forward ocho, and I'm going to walk with her. 3 steps. If you have been following the last 3 lessons or the last 4 lessons, you're going to immediately recognize what I'm doing. But in this particular kind of steps, you need to know where to put your feet in relationship with the feet of the follower. So I need to show you this with the sticks. So let me show you again. As usual, the fancy shoe is the right leg of my dance partner. The regular shoe is the left leg. This is gold, this is blue, black. So I'm in front of my dance partner. The line of dancing is going that way. So for now, we're starting with the first exercise, and we're just using this area in front of me. And here I go. I'm going to walk until the 5 of the basic step. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At this point, I'm going to invite, see, her feet are in a cross right now. In order to uncross, I'm going to move my torso towards my left, and her leg is uncrossed. I'm not going to stop moving, because if I stop, she's going to immediately rest that foot. So I don't want you to think that you have to be quick, you have to be precise. I go bam, and the moment that she's ready, I invite her to walk forward. This invitation to walk forward is not so much pulling her towards you, it's moving your torso. Okay? I open the gate, moving my leg behind me, and then I move my whole body. I cannot expect her to follow me if I just go like this. Okay? I have to move my center, and my center is inviting her to come with me. So I'm going to make 2 of these. One, once again, I'm going to bring this leg that she left behind in front of me. I see how I'm opening that gate. I'm stretching my leg. I'm using my glutes, the muscles in my legs and my ankle to make a very nice elongation. And after this, a forward step that she's doing, I'm going to hold it. See how I'm switching my weight, but I am not letting her step her right leg. And immediately after that, see how I switched. I was going backwards. And now I switch my direction, and I'm going to be walking around her. She walks forward, I walk with her. Then while I'm collecting, I'm showing her the next direction that is going almost towards the window, while my body is moving behind her. One more time, I bring her forward and I'm walking back. I invite her to go forward, I go behind her. So all the time I am going behind her, okay? And then in the last one, let's say I'm going to make 3 or 4, but whenever her left leg is coming forward, I'm going to collect my feet. Instead of going behind, I'm going to step in front of her foot. In front, in this case, in front of her right foot. And you don't have to do this in every forward ocho. When you're learning, you have to do it very slowly. You have to learn how to do it correctly. So you have to use all your senses. You have to use your balance. So try to start by doing just the sacada with your right foot. I step in the forward ocho, and then I simply wait. I lead the next forward ocho. I invite her to do a next forward ocho. See how I do the sacada? And I'm walking with her. Once again, I am creating a circularity. In this, because I'm not walking backwards like I was doing before, here I am always in front of her. So when she's walking with her right foot, I am walking together with her in a side step. But the moment that I invite her to walk with the left, in the next forward ocho, instead of going behind her foot, I'm going in between her legs, but in front of the right foot. And that is creating a very nice energy with that leg, provided the follower is catching that energy and has the right technique. Her leg is going to flow around us, like a little bit like the stick is flowing. See, if I do this, that stick flows around. Okay, so, and the next thing I do, I walk with her. Sacada, I walk with her. I can go also backwards if I want to. The reason why I'm doing it to the side step is a little bit to help you understand what you have to do. When you don't think when you don't have a lot of complicated things to think about, it's a lot easier to just focus in one thing. We were doing just the sacada. So, but what if I am a little bit more skilled and I would like to do the sacada in both legs? That means that every time that forward ocho is happening, I will be doing a sacada. So we're going to come back from the very beginning of what we did. Very quickly, we go to the number 5. After this, I'm inviting 2 forward ochos long to come back and use my space. I'm doing forward ochos, walking around her. I'm walking backwards. And all the time, I'm walking with my right leg behind her. And then, instead of walking behind, I'm walking in front of her foot. Now, instead of just switching my weight and going again with my right foot, see, I'm going to do this again in front of the camera. I do the sacada, and then I do another sacada. I can, if you don't have control over your balance when you're doing these forward ochos, you can still switch your weight. Look what I'm going to do. She's going forward step. I'm going to use my right foot first. And then I invite the forward ocho. I'm going, while she's pivoting, I'm going to show you here so you can see what's happening here. Sacada. While she's pivoting, I'm going to collect my feet and then do the next sacada. See how like I am arriving, and so that is the reason why it's very important for us leaders to listen perfectly to the downbeats, because that is actually helping us to understand what is the moment of switching our feet. I'm going to do this one more time. She steps with her left foot forward. I do the first sacada, and see, I'm going to go singing a little bit with the music. Bum, 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 bum. Now, that, don't forget, if you are an advanced leader, don't forget that that's not just your feet. That's what our feet do, but it's not the most important part. What you're doing in your upper body is what matters. Because if you're not leading correctly, she's not going to elongate her legs in that way. Okay? The forward ochos, if I want my dance partner to do forward ochos so I can do a sacada, I have to invite with my torso like a really long step. Okay? Of course, not all the ladies have the knowledge that they're not all trained the same. But I'm going to try to always think that I have to lead correctly. I have to have a standard. So don't expect that the lady, just because you're doing sacadas, the ladies are going to walk long steps. They don't know what you're doing. You have to let them know, see, I'm going to require you to do a longer forward ocho so I can do these steps. So, see, we were doing, I'm going back to the set. I was going back and then behind. Back and behind. Now, right after this one, I'm not going to go anywhere, and I'm going to do sacada. Sacada. I can, see, I started, let's say I'm going to start the sacada here. And that is kind of like taking me over the next couple that was dancing behind me. And as you know, I cannot go in that direction. I need to go counterclockwise all the time. But see how doing still forward ochos, I'm going to move back on the other side. And then at the same time that I'm doing sacadas. I do my sacada. I'm holding her up all this time. And then I'm going to go back there because I need to use that space. And then I come back. It is practical to understand how controlling your direction works within the sacalas, but I don't want you to think that in social dance, doing, I don't know how many sacalas I did, probably I did 10. The sacalas are like those steps that you would like to use as an embellishment. Imagine I'm always asking the ladies to do something else, not just dance flatly. In the same way, I'm asking you to try to use these steps, not all the time. Do them when you feel like the music and your dance partner are like perfect to do it. And kind of like surprise yourself and surprise your dance partner. That is a very cool thing to do. So it has to be a surprise. If you do 10, after the third, it doesn't feel like a surprise any longer. It feels like you're doing an exercise. So try to measure that. I would, maximum I would do probably 4, and then I would move a little bit and I would try it again. So I'm always keeping my dance partner a little bit excited about that movement. And the last movement that we did last week, I'm going to do the whole set one more time, very quickly. Number 5, 2 forward ochos, 1 and 2, going around her, behind, going around her, behind, and then sacalas. Now, see how in every forward ocho that you're doing, you either have her leg, in this case her right leg, or you have her left leg that is free to do something, that is free to change into something interesting. So the direction is going that way. Whichever leg I have with me, let's do this. I'm going to start with the left, so we have something different. Let's imagine that I did the last step there. So I need to move there, and I'm going to go forward ocho, see? Forward ocho. And I do another forward ocho. Forward ocho, and walk. And I keep going. Those forward ochos and walking at the same time, they are so very beautiful because they feel like a surprise. Most of the ladies are like constantly having this idea that the forward ocho is just forward ocho, but when you change it in that way, it's a beautiful surprise. Imagine them that they are used to receive all the time yellow flowers, and you brought them blue golden flowers. That is kind of like, I mean, it's surprising. You're giving her flowers, but if you choose a completely different color, it's going to be like double the surprise. That's what I mean when you do certain things that are teeny tiny different, but they are not used to it. They feel like, wow, this is, and some of them are going to like, can you do that again? So that's actually a good thing, but we don't want to use our mouths, right, when we're dancing, so we're going to keep mouths closed. Let's express with our bodies. That's what tango is all about. So I'm going to show you a little bit how I'm doing I know that the music is a little bit low. You cannot hear it very well, but I'm going to try not to say anything, and I'm going to edit this later with the music. So I'm going now. As you can tell, I use basically forward Ochos to move all around. The practicality of this is that when you use forward Ochos, it helps you to understand that you have to be moving all the time, and trains your intellectual side in order to control that part and not so much focusing in your feet. Of course, you need to learn the patterns, and the patterns is what we have been learning during the last 3 or 4 weeks that we did this. But the part of the lead is really, really important. So for that, I'm going to need a pillow now. So when I'm doing the pillow part, and when you practice the pillow part, don't hug the pillow just yet. Try to do the movements with the pillow in front of you. So you see the pillow actually moving, not like this. I'm just moving it with my hands. I want you to move the pillow. Imagine that you have the power to move the pillow with your tummy. So move your core in order to move it. I'm going to use this diagonal line, and I'm just going to use this area. I'm not going to rotate, so you can see what is happening with the pillow. And my steps are going to be a little bit shorter. This is not about what I'm doing with my legs. It's about what I'm doing with my upper body. So we just changed the music. Now it's the music of Carlos Di Sarli. So any music that you're listening to, it's very, very important to follow for now just the upbeat. I'm sorry, just the downbeat. So remember, pa, pa, pa. The downbeat is the strong beat. And I go to the number 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look how I'm disengaging that leg. So I'm rotating her, but I am not doing it in a way that I am moving her. She's on one foot, so I have to move in a way that it's not moving her axis, it's just rotating her. So I want you to be very sensitive about that. The next thing that's happening is that I'm elongating my leg to create a space. She's going to be walking there. Now I move again as if I would like her chest to be directed towards my side. And I have to keep doing that with my core, not so much with my hands. Her chest in front of my chest all the time. If you lose your balance for any reason, don't forget that of course, I don't want this to happen, that you lose your balance, but if you lose your balance when you're doing this and you're walking back, try to simply do an extra step. See, I'm losing my balance. However, my lead is always lifting her up. So she doesn't, I can step and lose my balance many times, but I cannot allow her to do that. Does that make sense? So I'm going to try to lift her up all the time. I can do 20 steps. She's just going to be doing 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. When I'm doing the sacada, it's the same thing. Remember that I told you? So when I do the sacada, my torso is going towards that direction, so she goes that way, and my lead is taking her in front. So she's going that way. But I'm not pulling her that way. My torso moves and then invites her. So I'm doing the opposite. My leg is going there, but my torso is inviting her. So the movement becomes a very interesting circularity around the couple. And that circularity is what I want you to encounter, because when you dance tango, we're going to not talk about the floor. Imagine that all what you're doing on the floor is all of a sudden is suspended to your midsection. This is what that circularity is happening here, up here, and the way that the couples are moving around the room is like this. Okay? So remember always that you're doing a lot of circles. You're moving like a whirlwind, like a hurricane all around the room. However, not like a hurricane, not messy. You're moving it. You're moving your body and your dance partner very nicely. In the last forward ochos, don't forget, I lead her forward ocho, and then I have to keep her locked in that forward ocho kind of like position, and I'm walking sideways. And after that, I do the forward ocho, and I come back to the other side. Okay, so see how interesting, out of learning how to play with the forward ochos, you can actually dance the whole song. And on top of that, you can try different rhythms. That was Juan D'Arienzo. It feels a little bit faster, another Juan D'Arienzo. It feels a little bit faster when you listen to the music because that's the style. He's playing downbeats and upbeats kind of like in the same, with the same intonation, so it feels faster, but you can still recognize that downbeat. much more especially if you are learning to do these movements. If you are already an experienced milonguero, try to speed up. So you're going to be dancing now. Imagine that, try to practice as a leader doing ochos like this. I'm going to try to do myself. I'm going to go, instead of doing the sound in my hands, I'm going to do it with my mouth. Pam, 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 pam. See, I'm still doing just one. Doing up and down, it would be pam, 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 pam. That is a little bit too fast. We're probably going to do that when we're dancing milonga. But when we're dancing tango, try to make your forward ochos not fast. Try to make them nice, elegant, elongated. For that, if you stretch your ankles, see, I'm going to imagine that I'm leading forward ochos. See how like I'm elongating my leg, my ankle, I mean, and at the end of my leg. So that makes my leg look very long. I go, elongate my ankle, and when I am lifting my center, I'm dragging that leg completely straight. If you do this, women tend, although they are in a close embrace, they are more sensitive than us, and they're going to feel that you're stretching something. So they are going to try to mimic what you're doing. Not that they are going to try to mimic, they will mimic. For some reason, they notice that. If you move exactly the same, they're going to start moving like that because they think, they are following you. So if you do a nice movement, they probably are going to go nicely as well. But if you do a foul movement, they're probably going to do it foully as well. So try to practice that elongation. And when I elongate my ankle, I'm also using my toes like this. I'm going to curl my toes down. That helps me to feel that elongation. Okay? So try to practice this just by yourself for now, and you're going to feel how it's going to be a lot easier to think not only in one line, but also to go around. Just the last tip, when you're doing the going around her, do that in the corners of your space, wherever you're practicing. Once again, my living room looks very, very large in front of the camera, but it's really not that large. So still, I am showing you in every corner that there is this space that you can use and have lots of fun. Okay? Well, now let's see what the ladies have to do. I started this video today asking to ocho or not to ocho. And in the case of the leader, they have to think about the ocho because they are leading the movement. But in the case of a follower, you don't have any option. You have to do what the leader is asking you to do. And in this case, I'm asking the leaders to keep going into the ochos. So the only thing that you're doing are ochos. I kind of like it's easy for you ladies, but at the same time, it's very challenging because it requires, in order to do a very nice ocho, you require to work your technical skills. If not, the ochos are going to be just regular ochos, like everybody knows how to do them. And, you know, it's not going to be pretty, it's not going to be special, it's going to be just a forward ocho, which I don't want you to do that. The key here is not when to ocho, it's when to embellish. So the question for you ladies is to embellish or not to embellish. Of course, when you're learning how to do this, I always insist about this. I want you to try as many as possible, as in every step. Try to think what else can you do. Brush your ankles, tap on the floor, caress the floor, draw a letter, draw a star if you can, tap a triangle, tap a circle, do something, okay? You don't really need to know what is happening in terms of the navigation because you're following, so that's not your job. I'm not saying that it's you should not do anything about it. I'm just saying that that's not part of your role, so you're just being carried around, which is wonderful, but still you're doing all the job. The leaders are, you know, they are taking you places, but who is really dancing the movement, these beautiful movements, are the women. So I really want you to remember that whenever you're doing a forward ocho, you must look good. That's the reason why before I was telling you that anybody can do forward ochos, even if you're not a very good dancer. And it's going to be okay, but only a good dancer remembers how to elongate the legs, not to bend the knees, lift, play with your core, stretch your ankles, do the pivot a little bit upwards, not downwards. We don't want to look like this in a forward ocho because our center of gravity is going to be so low that it's going to be making our axis wobbly. The moment that happens, I'm asking the leader to do constant forward ochos and doing sacadas, and he is like playing with other things. If he feels that your axis is not okay, he's going to lose his balance. The moment that he loses his balance, he's going to get tired of the exercise and he's going to move into doing basic ocho. And not basic ocho, basic ocho of like the basic ocho, 8 steps. So basic step. And you don't want that. You want the leader to do interesting steps. So the first thing I want to remind you, ladies, when you're doing these exercises is to walk correctly. Every time that you walk, don't walk. See, if I walk on a different line than my other foot, and I want to pivot on top of that, my legs are going to be completely spread out. The moment that I pivot, I'm not going to have just one strong axis. My axis is going to be tilted, or probably I'm going to feel like I have 2 axes. So, a reminder, I step in front. Now, when I'm going to switch my weight, I have to use my ankle to transfer that weight. See? Let's do it again. I'm switching my weight from one foot to the other. I'm going to do it first on the side so you can see my legs, and then I'm going to do it in front of you. So I make the first step. You can tell how my legs are completely elongated. If I make the step here, also I'm not going to be in control of my balance. So try to crisscross more than do parallel. If I crisscross, I'm grounded. After this, I switch my weight. And then I'm going to, in order to collect my feet and do the pivot that the leader is leading, I'm lifting my center, I'm lifting my heel. So when you're moving, even when you're moving doing that forward ocho, you're doing a smiley face with your core. It goes down a little bit, smile, pivots, and comes back. Smile, pivots, and comes back a little bit down. So you have to have this feeling that you're going like this. What do I mean? See? What happens if I go low with my knees bent? Or, see, this is the worst, that a lot of people get confused. I elongate, but when I arrive here, oops, sorry, bum, bum. Can you tell that I'm going down already here, and then, so instead of doing that movement, I'm doing this. So that is not aesthetical to the eye. I want you to always feel that your body is doing this, like in a waltz. Okay? Now let me show you in front. When you see yourself, your reflection in the mirror, you should see only one leg, like you're looking at my legs right now. And that also applies when you're walking backwards. We never walk here. We try to walk crisscrossing all the time. So remember that when you're practicing this at home. Now, like I said before, the embellishments are extremely important for your role. So we have practiced how to do these embellishments. The most simple, the most used, I would say, in different sizes is the curl. During the curl, I'm going to, the moment I feel that the leader is transferring my weight, I throw my foot around me. See? Bam, bam, bam. But I have to do that in the same speed that the music is going. I cannot take my time. The embellishment is not something that the leader is aware of. The embellishment belongs just to you. So enjoy that movement. Enjoy something that only belongs to you. The leader has nothing to do. This is just yours. So when you're doing that, you have to follow the 1, 2, 3. Ta, ta, ta. So see how I'm going to do it. Pa, 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 pa. Pa. Ha, ra, pa, pa. Ra, pa, pa. Ra, pa, pa. So I'm finding that count to practice. And if you don't feel comfortable with that count, go tapping the ground. And you can go a lot slower. Taking care of business, elongate while I'm getting ready to pivot. Ba, 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 ba. Same thing on the other side. Ba, 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 ba. Look how whenever I am kicking, I am still brushing my standing leg and I'm going. I cannot kick and go. Look at the difference. I want no space in between your legs. So although I'm kicking behind me, I cannot walk like this. You can see how not aesthetical that looks. So I kick back. I'm going to brush my thighs. Okay? So we have the curl, we have the taps. The taps can have a lot of different speeds. You can do, I don't know, I did 4, I think, around. But you can go practice slow. Now, if you practice those numbers, you want to add another one, you have to think in the same space, in the same time, you have to feel an extra one. So you have to move a little bit faster. 1, 2, 3, 4, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, go. If you want to add more, once again, try to first get that counting. How do I do that? With the music that is going. 1, 2, 3. That's the very basic. I'm counting 1 downbeat, the next downbeat, and the upbeat. So if I want to do 4, like I was saying, instead of counting 1, 2, 3, I have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. But the counting is, if somebody else would be counting the downbeats for me, by the time that they are saying 2, I should be saying 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 2. 1, 2. They have to say just 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if you want to add an extra one, that is going to be more challenging even for my tongue. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't have a bar today, but how would that be? 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, I cannot pivot. I'm going to hold the wall. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Which is what a lot of women do in the milonga. They love to do ta 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 ta. But once again, this is a challenge. I don't want any of you trying to do this in the milonga of the music, because if you try to do it off the music, you know, all the beauty of going with that allure, all that pivot, and you do it off the music, it crumbles down. It's like, oh, good try, but it doesn't look good. Now, when you're doing, also you have to remember that your ankle is, and your hamstring is doing all the job. I'm not moving my knee because that would be knocking my own axis. So when you do that exercise, I want you to try to feel how your hamstring is working hard. Don't think too much in the pivot. The pivot is going to happen as a natural thing because the leader is doing the pivot. One thing that you have to remember though is that you have to lift the heel. Right the moment when you're elongating your ankle, preparing to tap, see how, although my knee is bent, and although you have I don't know, 4 inches high heel, you have to allow your heel to be off the ground. If you don't do that, in the moment of the pivot, you're going to be going kind of like in pieces, bouncing, not good. You want to have a constant movement. Okay? Of course, this is not going to happen overnight. Don't expect to go from tapping once to do 5 taps in 10 minutes. It will take a while. Now, During this series, this virtual pre-recorded series, we have seen a lot of other embellishments that require nothing but you being patient. Remember this one that I like so very much. I walk, I elongate, and when I feel that the leader is doing the pivot with his chest, I am going to cross. But when I cross, I'm not just going to put my foot like this. This is very disorganized. I have a space in between my thighs and my feet are not aligned. I'm going to try to make sure that that leg is very well aligned with the rest of my body. My feet are parallel to each other, and on top of that, because I'm going to be on the ball of my foot, the hip is going to be raised. When I lift my hip, my whole center is going up, and it's a lot easier to keep that position. The moment that the leader feels that, his lead is going to feel, the leader is going to feel your body a lot lighter. So he's going to enjoy doing this, and he's going to probably try all the sequence all in once, provided that you keep your axis. Like I said before, if you lose your axis, more likely is that the leader is going to quit and he's going to try to do some other things. Now, in this particular exercise, all you have to do is wait. Then keep waiting until the leader is almost dragging you to make the next step. If you walk by yourself, you're going to end up rushing so much that you're going to probably look at my foot, I'm taking this direction. So I want to show you how the opposite look, the really good one and the really bad one. If I rush, I'm going to try to go, look how I'm going towards the camera, although that is my direction. If I do that, the moment of, see, I'm already pivoting. So when the leader pivots me, I'm going to just, the feeling of that lead is like rush forward. Your job is walk with him, cross, and let him do this. And then he's going to pull you again. Let him do the job, and he does the job. So he's like carrying you around. This is the energy that he's using. Don't rush it. The more that you rush it, the more you lose your technical skills, the more you lose the good stuff. These little details, like I always say, they are making you dance a lot better. So, one thing also about the elongation of your ankles while the sacadas are happening. I emphasize this. It's not important to show you what the leader's feet or the leader's legs are doing in this exercise or in this whole sequence that we're practicing today, but it's really important when it comes to the sacada. That's the only thing I'm going to use the sticks for. So, when I'm the leader and the sticks are the followers, when I do a sacada, look how the stick is completely elongated. The stick doesn't have a knee, so it's easy for the stick to do that. I want you to remember the sticks, and whenever you're doing the forward ocho, I want you to look like the sticks. How we achieve that? Like I said earlier, whenever you're walking forward, you do a forward step in front of your other foot. I'm going to take all the time a diagonal line here. So that is my forward step. And look how I have my knees elongated, but then I'm going to stretch When I'm transferring my weight, I'm stretching that leg. If I don't look at my ankle, at the very end, I'm stretching that ankle so my leg looks very long. That is when the leader is going to feel comfortable to go in front. If I step just like this, see, the leader is going to be a little bit afraid of going any further. He actually needs to go here. But if you do this, he doesn't have enough room. And he's going to probably end up doing kind of like going under you. Allow that to happen. Make sure that you're elongating. So there is space there. You can practice this with the sticks, but see how I'm crisscrossing my steps? Oops. So I control this. I also invited the leaders to practice forward ochos, walking around you. Many times, whenever I dance, I feel like even though the ladies are with closed eyes, part of their brain is still thinking where they are. They are controlling every aspect of the dancing, which is wonderful. I wish I had the brain of a woman that is thinking of 25 different things at the same time. But I don't want you to do those tasks that much. When you feel the forward ochos going around the leader, don't try to go anywhere else. See, imagine the leader is right here in front of me. He's doing this. He's leading you a forward ocho, and then he's moving. And then he's moving again. He's moving, and he's moving again. So, if you're the kind of person that also dances in close embrace, just enjoy your movement. Don't try to design or don't try to guess where the leader is taking you or what the leader is doing. Just enjoy that, being present right there and allowing that communication to flow. Why I'm telling you this? Because whenever you do the forward ochos towards the body of the leader, it feels like you're going to trip. Naturally, we feel uncomfortable if we're going to walk in front of somebody. So, whenever the leader pulls you towards his body, I want you to just go, flow with that movement, and don't forget, I know that not everybody feels comfortable going with the heel, but try to go like a plane. Your foot is going like a plane. First, like the plane goes with the nose down, and then at the very end lands with the tires that are behind. So in the same way, I'm going with the tip of my shoe, but at the end, I know that is probably something that nobody told you when you were starting dancing, or it's difficult. You love your high heels and it's difficult to walk like that with the high heels, but just try it. Especially when you're walking in front of a chair, when you're walking in front of your bar, try to do that. And that is going to help you a lot in your balance. The way that you walk also, when you walk using your heel, that is making your muscles work and the axis move in such a smooth way. My pivot is not very good because nobody's pivoting me. When you go towards any forward step, your only job is to push the ground like a duck foot. Push the ground. The duck pushes the water with its foot like this, right? I want you to push the ground like it would be the water. See how like that, the force of my ankle, the muscles around my ankle are propelling me forward. So that is what makes a very nice forward step look good. Another thing that I want you to take care when you're doing this is feel your body like going upwards and then down, like I said before. But every time, in order to do that, kind of like going up, you have to use your obliques to pull. See, if you don't know how to use your obliques, or you're kind of like new to this movement, all you have to do is switch weight and then try to touch your armpit with your hip bone. Relax and try to do it with the other one. So those muscles are your obliques. Now, I don't want you to exaggerate this, but those are the muscles that we're using in order to help us do this. I walk, I elongate, see how I'm navigating towards the other side of the room, and then I feel the lead, and this going up is making my pivot a lot easier, not only for me, but also for the leader. So it becomes very easy. Up, up, up. After a while, you're not going to need to use the chair because you're going to have developed a very strong core. The core, don't forget, is all the front of your body, from your sternum to your midsection, and from here to your knees. So the core is not just one little spot, it's the whole midsection area. So the use of your core is very, very important for this when you're doing the forward ocho. Now, don't forget, I'm going to use my obliques in a regular forward ocho. And I'm going to lift my hip in just the pivot. That is the basic part of a forward ocho. But if you're going to use an embellishment, that those muscles are going to be relaxed. You don't want to lift the hip and try to do that embellishment because it's not going to work. Your hip actually has to be low in order to, you have to feel the elongation from your ribs to like the lower part of internally the lower part of your hip, kind of like in between around your crotch. That's how you're going to be doing all these movements. Unless the last one that we did, in that one you really have to lift your hip because that exercise is taking your whole body upwards. The taps and the curl are taking you downwards. So there's a little bit of a difference there that I don't want to go over them because we have done this before. Like I said, if you have any doubts, go back 3 lessons before, 4 lessons before. I explained a little bit more in detail all these embellishments that we are trying to do. The key, like I said to the gentleman, the key here is when you're practicing forward ochos, try to navigate your living room. See? I'm going to go the opposite side. I'm going to arrive to a crossing. the more you flow with the music, I want you to understand the music. We both, a leader and follower, we must understand the music in order to keep flowing, in order to know when to step on the ground, how to move, when to do the taps, etc., etc. But when you're dancing in a social dance, you cannot just listen to the music and pretend that the leader is going to know what to do, when to do it. First, you follow. Then you connect with the music. So the first thing that you have to do is follow. Then the connection with the music. And after you're connected with the music, then come your embellishments. It's like the last thing that you have to think of, not the first. If you practice this by yourself, trying to, in order to keep your balance, you can work. See, like I did before with the sacadas, all you're doing is forward ochos, but you're using the sticks as helping you with the balance. But don't stay in just one spot. Try to navigate. That is really going to boost your way of doing ochos, and not just doing the ochos, but also embellishing and making work your movements to the music with the lead that the leaders are going to be giving you. Now, in the same way that I ask the leaders not to overdo things, whenever it comes, it's coming soon, whenever it comes time to dance with your dance partner in the milonga, we're not going to try to do all the exercises, all the embellishments at once. We're going to try to measure them. I do one here, one there, and that's it. If not, it's going to feel like you're making it, you're trying too hard, okay? And you don't want to look like that. You want to look nice, simple, and beautiful. That's the idea, okay? At least that's the idea of a very good dancer. And I know that all of you are very good dancers. So that would be the lesson for today. We have a very, very exciting episode in our podcast. It's about women, because we're in March and we have to talk about women and women in tango. In this case, I chose this tango because it's very uplifting, something that probably many of us need right now, because we're seeing a lot of hope around. I feel it, at least, and I want to share with you. And if you're not feeling, you're still a little bit blue, try to leave those spirits, and this song is just for you. This episode is just for you. So I do the translation. It's very uplifting, very interesting, but also I talk about the musicians behind it, and I also I'm asking you to compare two versions that sound completely different, and I would like you to go to to listen to that episode and send me a message. Tell me your ideas, and come to the milonga later today at 7:30, and let's discuss. Let's talk about it. Why do you feel certain things with a singer, and how do you feel it when there's another singer singing the same song, but the feeling is completely different? So let's talk about it. Let's get some conversations about this tango, okay? So we have a lot of things, a lot of content to enjoy. I want to thank you very much, as usual, for your support, which is very, very important for us, not only for me, but the whole community needs you. So thank you so very much, and I will be in your living room next week at the same time. Until then, bye-bye.